I am from Texas, and um, the area in Texas where I lived was the before the colonization was the home of the Comanche peoples, which is part of my own ancestry. Um, the last chief, so to speak, of the Comanche tribe in Texas that we're speaking on is this guy named Quanah Parker. And something that is more notorious than Quanah Parker that was started by him is a little thing called the Native American Church. And the Native American Church is based on the idea that in a peyote related ceremony that Quanah himself met Christ himself. And at first glance, you might say, oh, this is a sellout tactic. But I have to jump in there and say that that's really where I'm going with my talk about the book of John and the writer of John. Number one, we know that the writer of John was Lazarus just by reading the gospel and actually paying attention to what the fuck it says. But what the point that John makes or Lazarus makes in this book is that through initiation, through spiritual initiation, not through Bible thumping crazy shit, but through spiritual initiation, people since the dawn of time have met Christ as a part of their, coming of age ceremony. You know what I mean? As part of becoming a student of the spiritual world, they've met this entity, Christ, that happens to have been manifested in the person that we now commonly refer to as Jesus of Nazareth. But the point that John is making, or the author of John, which I believe is Lazarus, is that you know Christ through your initiation, through your interaction with the Creator. Because even though Jesus of Nazareth is a human manifestation of the Creator is obviously not confined to that person. And so what I'm showing you is that, about approximately 1,950 years prior to the starting of the Native American Church, is that John was teaching the same thing. Is that you meet this Christ guy through your spiritual journey, through whatever the initiation process is for every particular tribe. And there's an initiation process for the Irish tribes. There's an initiation process for the Plains Indians. There's an initiation process for the Northwest Indians. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying to you is that Christ and the Creator is something that you learn from and experience in reality. It's not something you've got to read about in a book. It's not something that you have to have some intermediary priest explain to you. It's something that you come to know in the process of healthy spiritual maturation. So, even though at first glance it sounds like a new thing, the Native American Church is really a call back to the original Christianity, where it didn't matter if you knew about Jesus of Nazareth. What matters is if you had been initiated into the spiritual truths. And if you had been initiated into the spiritual truths, then by default you have interacted with this being that the Christians isolate in their book and refer to as Jesus Christ or the Savior or Joshua ben Joseph or whatever language you're trying to translate it into. And and the problem with the Romans is that they've gone to great lengths to stop out the maturation process. Particularly in Europe, and anywhere where colonization has taken place, and that they could use it as a form of leverage. They want to spoon feed you their brand of spirituality while they have control of the truth. Where in past days, as long as you were a member or participating in your community with your tribe, or however your life was led, you would come into contact with the Creator on your own terms, on your family's terms, and whatever was circumstantially correct for you. And I just wanted to throw out that little bit of information so I could bring some coherentness to the things that I've been trying to speak about the book of John. I know that sometimes you guys have a hard time seeing where I'm going with things, but here's the truth of the matter is that you go on a little journey when you decide that you're going to look for the truth. Like if you right now, if you say, what is truth? And as you start to study the truth, you're going to end up on this journey that even though it's feeding your mind by bringing you knowledge, it's slowly moving you away from your community. It's slowly moving you away. I don't want to say your community, but contemporary society. It's moving you away from what everyone has been brainwashed into. You know what I mean? The closer you get to the truth, the farther you get from your partners. And that's where this generation has to wheel it back in. We have to say, hey, wait, there's a fucking information gap here. And we have to find a way to participate in it without isolating ourselves and without leaving our families behind. And, you know, whatever. I'm not the Pope. I'm just telling you how I feel about it.